This is my review of Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, in just over 4 minutes. Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name is linked to previous games in Like a Dragon series. Therefore, this review will spoil some of what has happened previously, as it's necessary to set up the game. If you're not up to date yet, here are a couple of quick-fire questions and answers to avoid you being spoiled. Should you play Like a Dragon Gaiden? Yes, it's excellent. Do you need to play previous Like a Dragon / Yakuza games beforehand? Also, yes, you could just play Yakuza Like a Dragon, but this game pays off years of storytelling, so you'll be doing yourself a disservice by not taking it in order. I, in turn, feel like I would be doing a disservice to you if I talk about this game in a very singular way. As a result, I'll be making lots of references to the rest of the series, as that's what you need to fully make sense of it all. With that out of the way, let's start. Taking place after Yakuza 6, but before the ending of Yakuza Like a Dragon, the man who erased his name puts you in the rather huge shoes of Jiryu, Kiryu's alter ego, after faking his own death. In return for his life, he's under the orders of a clan who play a central role in the story you lived through as Ichiban in Yakuza Like a Dragon. Taking you back to the city of Sotenbori, your handler gives you demands, and you fulfill them. Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name was originally conceptualized as a DLC and came about in just 6 months, and this shows through in the end product. It's a much shorter game than we're used to at just 5 chapters, and side activities are a little less involved than usual. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name, like previous Like a Dragon games, is deeply and wonderfully empathetic. Homelessness, poverty, and the way it takes the worst elements of life and brightens them up all come through. Jiryu himself, with nothing but a Clark Kent-style getup, never really has anyone fooled, but everyone plays into the theatre he's putting on. It plays on the bravado of the Yakuza and how fundamentally likeable our main lead has been for the last few decades. In a sense, it's a game propelled by how wonderful the series has been. Being shorter in length, the story goes through fewer twists and turns, but this allows every chapter to punch like the end of a Like a Dragon game. The pacing is quick and snappy, meaning you can breeze through it in about 10 hours, but you will find yourself constantly pulled away by the other things the game has to offer. For one, Pocket Racer is back, and it's just as charming and engrossing as it's always been. In it, you build small cars to go around a track quicker than anyone else, which then allows you to buy more and keep building. When you get to the final races, you are left with almost hundreds of parts to flip between to get the perfect build. Racing is only one way to buy these parts though. Akame, a brand new character, assigns you tasks and rewards you for doing Like a Dragon Gaiden's version of the completion list. This may task you with finding a bento box or taking on a new sub-story. While many of the sub-stories are just as interesting as you would expect, some of the requests feel like busy work at points, making you take a picture of a car in a parking lot or beat up yet another group of ruffians. Luckily, combat is still great. Moving back to a real-time beat-em-up, you can swap between 2 main stances. One is a bit more brutish with heavy swings and combos, whereas another is techie, allowing you to control drones and fire a spider gadget to pull in enemies. Like a Dragon Gaiden, the man who erased his name absolutely relies on the rule of cool for its action set pieces, but never fails to deliver. If you're looking for something new, there is a clan fighting mode, but it feels like a mix between the classic Colosseum and Yakuza 6's Clan Creator. You can pick up fights in the Colosseum, create a team of fighters you've recruited, and upgrade them by winning matches. This is needed to get through a major sub-story near the end, but only worth sinking the time into if you really like pummeling groups of fighters. Like Judgment before it, the man who erased his name has a verticality to its exploration. The spider gadget can be used to grab items as well from around the city, giving you a reason to really take in the sights. Despite the next game being called Infinite Wealth, the man who erased his name has a large focus on money. Being used to level up your character, invest in Akame, and buy items, it's a single most important resource, and you will get lots of it. The game itself is all about filling in those gaps left at the end of Yakuza Like a Dragon, but it successfully does a lot more than that. It's great to see Jiryu, again. It shines a new light on a city I'm very familiar with, and manages to really allow decades worth of storytelling to hit home. Up until the end of the game, I found myself pleasantly surprised by how the story was told, but it wasn't until the very end that everything started to hit more. One particular scene near the conclusion of the game perfectly encapsulates how wonderful the series is and gives a peek behind the type of man Kiryu has been this whole time. It illuminates a lot of Kiryu's own weaknesses but shows his strengths too. His selfless nature isn't just shown in his words but in his body language and tone of voice. The man who erased his name is not only a great time but a sign that RGG wholly understand the man they've been telling us about for a decade. Not only is it shown in Kiryu's over-the-top escapades and monologue, but in those brief pauses just after the credits roll. If Infinite Wealth is the main course, the man who erased his name is the starter. Though its goal is just to ready your palate for something that will satisfy you, the flavour and presentation are top notch and more than enough to hold me off till the next course.